Back to the White House, Jackie Heinrich has some new information for us. Jackie.
Yeah, I just went up to the press area to get an understanding of what we're watching. This is what I was told. The president has kicked Zelenskyy out of the White House. His delegation right now is telling him that he's got to go home. The president felt disrespected. Officials in the room felt that beyond the language barrier that we've heard some discussion about, Zelenskyy's body language, shrugging and eye-rolling, was ungrateful, disrespectful, and the president feels that Zelenskyy is not ready for peace, and he can come back when he's ready to talk about peace, but he's not in that position right now, and Zelenskyy is being told he's got to go. The lunch that they were supposed to have is sitting right outside the hallway, and the press staffers are going to be eating that lunch. This is really pretty incredible. We see the
Jackie,
SUV,
hang on with us one
Zelensky's
moment.
SUV.
If you look to your left, you're going to see him. Let's watch.
Mr. President, is the deal off? President Zelenskyy, can you tell us what happened?
Mineraalisopimuksen allekirjoittaminen peruttiin kokonaan ja Zelenskyy juuri astui sisään autoonsa. Sadat toimittajat.
Did you sign the minerals deal? Did you sign the minerals deal?
Why were you so disrespectful to the president?
We may be watching the floor fall through this moment in international relations and diplomacy, or this might be the art of the deal, and we're not going to know for some time.
What's your message for them?
Well, if I didn't align myself with both of them, you'd never have a deal. You want me to say really terrible things about Putin and then say, "Hi, Vladimir, how are we doing on the deal?" That doesn't work that way. I'm not aligned with Putin. I'm not aligned with anybody. I'm aligned with the United States of America and for the good of the world. I'm aligned with the world, and I want to get this thing over with. You see the hatred he's got for Putin. It's very tough for me to make a deal with that kind of hate. He's got tremendous hatred, and I understand that, but I can tell you the other side isn't exactly in love with, him either. So it's not a question of alignment. I'm aligned with the world. I want to get the thing set. I'm aligned with Europe. I want to see if we can get this thing done. You want me to be tough? I could be tougher than any human being you've ever seen. I'd be so tough. But you're never going to get a deal that way. So that's the way it goes. All right, one more question.
I will respond to this. So look, for 4 years in the United States of America, we had a president who stood up at press conferences and talked tough about Vladimir Putin, and then Putin invaded Ukraine and destroyed a significant chunk of the country. The path to peace and the path to prosperity is maybe engaging in diplomacy. We tried the pathway of Joe Biden of thumping our chest and pretending that the President of the United States' words mattered more than the President of the United States' actions. What makes America a good country is America engaging in diplomacy. That's what President Trump is doing.
Can I ask you?
Sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So he occupied our parts, big parts of Ukraine, part of East and Crimea. So he occupied it on 2014. So during a lot of years, so I'm not speaking about just Biden, but those time was Obama, then President Obama, then President Trump, then President Biden, now the President Trump, and God bless, now President Trump will stop him. But during 2014, nobody stopped him. He just occupied and took. He killed people. You know what the contact
2015.
2014
2014.
and 2015.
2014.
Yeah. So
I was not here.
Yeah, but
That's exactly right.
Yes, but during 2014 till 2022, yeah, the situation the same. The People are been dying on the contact line. Nobody stopped him. You know that we had conversations with him, a lot of conversation, my bilateral conversation, and we signed with him, me, like a new president. In 2019, I signed with him the deal. I signed with him, Macron and Merkel, we signed ceasefire. Ceasefire. All of them told me that he will never go. We signed him with gas contract. Yes, but after that, he broken this ceasefire. He killed our people and he didn't exchange prisoners. We signed the exchange of prisoners, but he didn't do it. What kind of diplomacy, JD, you are speaking about? What do you mean?
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the president for trying to bring an end to this conflict.
Have you ever been to Ukraine that you say what problems we have?
I have been to.
Come once.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your military? And do you think that it's respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems, even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless.
You
God bless. You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that.
That's exactly
Remember
what
this.
you're doing.
You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel. We're going to feel very good.
You will feel influence.
We're going to feel very good and very strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about it.
From the very beginning of the war.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having cards.
I'm not playing cards.
But right now, you don't.
You're
playing cards.
Mr. President.
You're playing cards.
Serious.
You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country. That's back to you. Far more than a lot of people said they should have.
Have you said thank you once? This entire meeting? No, in this entire meeting, have you said thank you? You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for the United States of America and the president who's trying to save your country.
Please, you think that if you will speak very loudly about the war, you can...
He's not speaking loudly. He's not speaking loudly. Your country's in big trouble.
Can I
Wait a
answer?
minute. No. You've done a lot of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not winning. You're not winning this. You have a damn good chance of coming out okay because of us.
Mr. President, we are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone, and we are thankful. I said thanks
you haven't been
in this
alone.
cabinet.
You haven't been alone.
In this cabinet.
We gave you, through this stupid president, $350 billion. We gave you military equipment, and your men are brave, but they had to use our military.
What about
if you didn't have our military equipment, if you didn't have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
In 3 days. I heard it from Putin. In 3 days. This is something
maybe
new.
Less.
In 2 weeks. Of course, yes.
It's going to be a very hard thing to do business like this. I tell you.
Just say thank you.
Said a lot of
accept that there are disagreements, and let's go litigate those disagreements rather than trying to fight it out in the American media when you're wrong. We know that you're wrong.
But you see, I think it's good for the American people to see what's going on.
I understand, sir.
I think it's very important. That's why I kept this going so long. You have to be thankful. You don't have the cards.
Thankful.
You're buried there. Your people are dying. You're running low on soldiers. Listen, you're running low on soldiers. It would be a damn good thing. And then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go, and I wanted this. Look. if you could get a ceasefire right now, I tell you, you take it so the bullets stop flying and your men stop getting killed.
Of course, we want to stop the war.
But you're saying you don't want a ceasefire.
But I said to you,
I want a ceasefire.
with guarantees.
Because you'll get a ceasefire faster than an agreement.
Ask our people about ceasefire, what they think.
That wasn't with me.
For you what,
that
what
wasn't with me.
Means.
That was with a guy named Biden, who was not a smart person. That was with Obama.
It was your president.
Excuse me. That was with Obama, who gave you sheets, and I gave you javelins.
Yes.
I gave you the javelins to take out all those tanks. Obama gave you sheets. In fact, the statement is Obama gave sheets and Trump gave javelins. You got to be more thankful, because let me tell you, you don't have the cards. With us, you have the cards. But without us, you don't have any cards.
One more question to Mr. Vice President. I'm sorry, here.
It's going to be a tough deal to make, because the attitudes have to change.
What if Russia breaks ceasefire? What if Russia breaks peace talks? What do you do then? I understand that it's a heated conversation right now.
What are you saying?
She's asking, what if Russia breaks the ceasefire?
What if anything? What if a bomb drops on your head right now? Okay? What if they broke it? I don't know. They broke it with Biden because Biden, they didn't respect him. They didn't respect Obama. They respect me. Let me tell you, Putin went through a hell of a lot with me. He went through a phony witch hunt where they used him and Russia. Russia. You ever hear of that deal? That was a phony Hunter Biden, Joe Biden scam. Hillary Clinton, Shifty Adam Schiff. It was a Democrat scam. And he had to go through that. And he did go through it. We didn't end up in a war. And he went through it. He was accused of all that stuff. He had nothing to do with it. It came out of Hunter Biden's bathroom. It came out of Hunter Biden's bedroom. It was disgusting. And then they said, oh, the laptop from hell was made by Russia, the 51 agents. The whole thing was a scam. And he had to put up with that. He was being accused of all that stuff. All I can say is this. He might have broken deals with Obama and Bush, and he might have broken them with Biden. He did, maybe. Maybe he didn't. I don't know what happened. But he didn't break them with me. He wants to make a deal. I don't know if you can make a deal. The problem is I've empowered you to be a tough guy. And I don't think you'd be a tough guy without the United States. And your people are very brave. But you're either going to make a deal or we're out. And if we're out, you'll fight it out. I don't think it's going to be pretty, but you'll fight it out. But you don't have the cards. But once we sign that deal, you're in a much better position. But you're not acting at all thankful. And that's not a nice thing. I'll be honest, that's not a nice thing. All right, I think we've seen enough. What do you think? Huh? This is going to be great television, I will say that. All right. We'll see what we can do about putting it together. Thank you.
Guys, let's go. Guys, come on, let's go.
We'll see. I don't know.
All right, guys. Guys, come on. Please. Hey, come on. Guys, come on.
I do want to go now for immediate reaction to Edward Lawrence. I know that you're there. You've witnessed it all. Edward, I think for me, the reaction is clear. Every tweet from the Democrats thinks that this was horrible. X, not tweet, from Republicans, including Byron Donald, say that this is what it absolutely looks like when you put America first, when you fight and defend the taxpayers who have been funneling all of this money. What is your reaction?
Yeah, and the president said in the Oval Office that he wanted this to play out a little bit longer than he had because he wanted America to see how things get done. This is the messy part of the negotiation part deal. I want to pick up on something that Brian had just said to Charles, talking about the Belt and Road Initiative. You know, the way it's been described to me with this deal is this is sort of the anti-Belt and Road. So that is a debt model and an aid model that has been going to Ukraine where there is no reciprocal, where we get no money back in the United States. The debt model, where it's just debt to Ukraine. This is sort of a win-win, is the way this rare earth mineral was described to me, because it is a model where both countries can then gain from that partnership. And the president hoped that through that joint venture, it would branch into a greater peace deal. Now, President Zelenskyy clearly came here to get security guarantees, to make sure that the weapons were still continuing into Ukraine, and to make sure that the U.S. would backstop any peace deal with the American military might. When it started to become clear that that might not be the case in terms of, would the weapons continue? Well, maybe they will, maybe they won't. Depends on how the peace deal goes. Will the U.S. backstop? Yeah, the U.S. will backstop, but maybe there will be troops, maybe there won't be troops. So you could start to see in the Oval Office how this started to turn a little bit when Zelenskyy and President Trump were talking about security guarantees. And that was really the pivotal moment in this, is when it devolved down into what we saw on television and play out for everybody. So President Trump clearly in the Oval Office throwing the gauntlet down, saying that without the United States, without our weapons, you would not be able to continue this war. The president wants this war to end because he wants people to stop dying on both sides. And he says he's putting himself in the middle, and that's what he's going to negotiate this peace deal, both with President Zelenskyy and with the Russian President Vladimir Putin. But clearly the two sides hate each other. And the president now, you said the Truth Social post, saying President Zelenskyy is welcome to come back when he wants to talk about peace. And we are seeing, I guess, movement for President Zelenskyy to leave. And you said that the news conference has been canceled.
Well, and obviously, and I'm glad that Taylor brought this up. We're getting a lot of reactions right now on social media from different members of Congress. Congressman Byron Donalds, who just announced this week his run for the governor of Florida, said that this is what this means, what you just saw on your TV. This is putting the American people first. This is what this looks like. He thanked at Real Donald Trump and at J.D. Vance for standing up for our nation. So I think the next question here, in my mind, Edward, is what does this mean for our allies in Europe, and also what does this mean for the tariffs? Do you foresee any of this changing? I asked Charles Payne the same question. What's your reaction?
Well, we may have witnessed a pivotal moment in the support. I mean, we just saw the French president come this week to the White House and the UK prime minister come to the White House, and both of them said that they would put troops on the ground after a peace deal is made in Ukraine, with the U.S. backstopping that. Now, I don't know if what happened here today puts that in jeopardy going forward, but clearly there is a divide now between what President Zelenskyy wants and what President Donald Trump wants. And I'm trying to figure out if the rare earth minerals deal was actually signed at the end. So the deal was ratified by the Ukrainian cabinet. So it is actually a sealed and done deal. All they needed was the Minister of Finance's signature on it, which was supposed to happen today, as well as the Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. President Trump and President Zelenskyy signing would be sort of it's not necessary for this particular agreement. So I'm trying to figure out now, as I look at my phone, to see if that rare earth deal was canceled or if it ended up going forward. But that's how we started today, talking about that deal. Yeah. We're ending it now with obviously President Zelenskyy looking like he's getting ready to leave.
And that's the thing. We're waiting for him to come out, Edward, and we want to see what that shot is like. My guess would be at this point, and we'll confirm it, that it would be impossible after an exchange like that and to cancel the press conference for them to be able to ratify that deal, because that deal is part of this larger peace deal. And this is what's so interesting to me. Cheryl's reading the tweet from Byron Donalds, which characterizes what happened here today. Also on X, the Washington Post posting this. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy came to Washington to prevent President Donald Trump from abandoning Kyiv in favor of Moscow 3 years into Russia's war on his country, but was met with vocal anger from the American president. That is the characterization from a left-leaning media outlet on what happened here, when to me, I'm looking at it and I'm like, the president was just passionate because he wants to get America out of this war and he wants to get a peace deal on the table. I think everybody would agree that's the right thing to do, but they're saying it's vocal anger from the American president.
Well, and that's very interesting. It seems like anger from this president, but and I did feel like the president did get a little upset at some of the things that were being said in that meeting. However, yeah, we might be. Yeah, we are seeing there's President Zelenskyy walking out.
The Ukrainian president walking out, leaving the White House and getting into his car. Edward, I know that you can see the live video as well as we can. Give us your reaction.
Yeah, well, that wasn't President Trump walking out, President Zelenskyy, and he did meet him on the way in. Yeah. So that was very interesting to see. And you can see a number of folks, the media is all out here getting view of this. Now, normally there would have been the flag ceremony this morning, the pomp and circumstance. That's not here around this departure because the President Zelenskyy was supposed to be here for a few more hours with a news conference. And it looks like they've finished their meeting now, and they are wrapping up to leave.
You know, my question in all of this is with Zelenskyy, I mean, what is next for him? I mean, Edward, you made a really good point that the Ukrainian cabinet approved this deal. This deal was actually moved forward with or without Zelensky's approval. He was supposed to sign it in the signing ceremony, but isn't that just ceremonial? Correct me if I'm wrong on that.
Yeah, no, that is just ceremonial, right? This was a done deal. It was signed, or it was ratified by the cabinet. It did need the signature of the Minister of Economy for Ukraine, as well as Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. And the Treasury Secretary basically crafted the deal, so he was going to sign it. And now we have to see if that signature for the Minister of Economy happened before this all devolved, and Zelenskyy is now leaving. But it is very interesting. You know, one point you were making before about being angry. It seemed President Trump to get a little bit angry, a little bit upset, but this, at the end of the day, how he negotiates, hey, look, here's your side. You don't have the cards. This is the way it is. Here's our side. We have the cards, we have the weapons, and we can help end this war. And that's what he wants to do as President Zelenskyy is now coming past the location where I'm standing right now and leaving the White House.
Well, Edward Lawrence, we are so grateful for your time and your expertise. And of course, you were there witnessing this live as we all view it on camera. I'm sure we'll be checking in with you in the coming hours as well.
If you enjoy this content, please consider subscribing to my channel to stay up to date with future videos. Thank you for watching.